Ajit Pai, the chairman of the Federal Communications Commission. Eric Gaylord Reuters. The Federal Communications Commission will vote on December 14 on whether to repeal its net neutrality rules. FCC Chairman Ajit Pai has argued that the rules need to be repealed because they've caused a decline in broadband investment. But the data Pai has offered doesn't back up this assertion. Ajit Pai says the Federal Communications Commission needs to ditch its net neutrality rules because they're hindering investment. The rules the agency put in place in 2015 bars broadband providers from blocking, throttling, or offering preferential treatment to particular sites or services. Powered by those rules, broadband companies are cutting back on investing in things like expanding their services to new customers or upgrading their networks, Pai, the FCC chairman, argues. If that's really what's been happening, that would be terrible, especially in a country that's ever more dependent on the internet and where the digital divide remains pronounced. But there's no evidence to prove Pai's assertion. In fact, the data Pai points to doesn't show anything close to a marked decrease in broadband investment. Instead, it shows that while broadband investment has risen and fallen a little bit over the years, it's been mostly flat since 2013. Additionally, a study in May by the consumer advocacy group Free Press, which opposes repealing the rules, found that broadband investment had increased since 2015. This data from US Telecom, which the FCC cites as proof that investment has decreased since the net neutrality rules were put in place, shows that investment has been mostly flat since 2013. US Telecom. The debate over broadband investment is coming to a head as the vote on whether to repeal the rules nears. With Pai and his Republican allies outnumbering Democrats on the commission 3-2, his proposal is expected to sail through on December 14. Investment is a key point in the net neutrality debate. Broadband investment can take many different forms. It can mean building out high-speed wireless LTE networks so you have a zippy connection no matter where you are in the country. It can mean building wired broadband networks in rural areas that are underserved compared with urban and suburban regions. It can mean increasing the speed and bandwidth of existing connections so you can download files faster or ultra-high-resolution videos with little lag time. Regardless of the form it takes, broadband investment is generally considered a good thing, because it promises faster internet speeds and more access to more people. As such, it has become a key point in the debate over net neutrality. Those in favor of net neutrality have sought to show that the rules haven't affected investment or have encouraged it, that they benefit consumers without causing any harm. Those opposing net neutrality, such as Pai, have tried to show how bad the rules are for consumers by pointing to investment declines. But the claim that investment has decreased thanks to net neutrality seems rooted in anything but reality. Taking a closer look at a complicated picture, it also ignores the complexity of the investment picture. Not all companies increase or decrease broadband investment at the same time. And declines in investment often are due to the completion of large projects, such as when AT finished its LTE rollout, rather than changes in government regulations. This chart from Free Press gives a clearer picture of recent broadband investment than the FCC's data and places it in the proper context. Though overall investment may decline from one year to another, examining investments by individual companies can give you a better picture of what's going on in the industry. By looking at investments by individual companies rather than the industry-wide investment number, you can get a better picture of what's going on. Free Press. By the way, Free Press gathered all that data from the public records of the telecommunications companies, which just so happen to be the biggest cheerleaders of Pai's effort to repeal the net neutrality rules. Those companies' own data shows that the rules haven't affected overall industry investment. Pai's ignoring the facts. During a conference call FCC officials held with reporters last week, I asked about this discrepancy between Pai's assertion that investment is declining and what the actual data shows. The officials dismissed my question, saying I had my facts wrong. But they didn't offer any data that would prove Pai's argument. Reached later, an FCC representative pointed to the US Telecom data posted above that Pai previously referenced. The representative declined to make the chairman or anyone else on his staff available for an interview. Pai's FCC has ignored much of the data that contradicts his rationale behind repealing net neutrality, Derek Turner, the author of the Free Press report on broadband investment, said in an email Monday. The FCC came into this with a preconceived notion, latched onto data that supported that notion, and ignored every single piece of conflicting evidence, Turner wrote. There are many ways to measure broadband investment. It's easy to pick numbers to bolster either side of the net neutrality debate. But even when you look at the data most favorable to PI's position, it doesn't prove net neutrality regulations have resulted in significantly lower broadband investment from telecom companies. At worst, investment has been flat since 2013. At best, it's increased. It's a leap in logic on PI's part to use 2 years of cherry-picked data to make the case that broadband is getting worse for Americans because of the net neutrality rules. But it's that leap in logic that's likely to result in the repeal of those rules. This column does not necessarily reflect the opinion of Business Insider.